morning, Clinton College student, faculty, staff, and alumni, and friends. My name is Anna Kisor. I am a senior here at Clinton College from North Carolina, Charlotte. I major in business administrations. Welcome to the 11 installments of Spring 2022 Virtual Beacon Forum series of Clinton College. The purpose of our Beacon Forums during the series is to bring together our campus community each Wednesday during the academic year from 11 to 12 noon. For our times of inspirations, educations, and fellowships, Beacon Forums exposes our Clinton families to a variety of thoughts, leaders, change agents, and creative, and innovators who embody one or more of our core values: scholarships, servants, leaders, social change, and spirituality. Beacon Forums give us an opportunity to have a meaningful conversations with each other and professionals who's making a difference in our world. One of the hallmarks of our Beacon Forums is the serious questions and answer. Dialogue between our students and viewing audience with our guest speaker. We encourage all of you, especially our Clinton students, to actively participate in today's Q&As, segment led by our president, Lester Dr. McCorn. Share your questions and reflections in the comments throughout today's events, and especially during the Q&As. We want your input. We are delighted to have you as a featured speaker guest today, Reverend Eldrin Morrison, who is currently served on the Board of Trustees for Clinton College. On behalf of the entire Clinton College family, we say thank you to our friends from the community for spending times parts of the day with us. Be sure to follow our social media platforms for an updates on the future events, new academic programs, and course offerings and other activities. We hope you will enjoy today's broadcast.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Litasia White. I am a sophomore majoring in biology. Today is a new day and a chance for a new start. I am here to lead the invocation. I invite you to pray with me. Dear Father God, dear Mother God, I pray you allow the speaker, Reverend Eldrin Morrison, to give wisdom to allow us a peace of mind in anything we may be going through. Please give us comfort, strength, and the knowledge to focus as finals come up, and please never give up on us. Show us the way and direct us on a good path to keep us from trouble and evil. Guide every decision, every destination, response, effort, and conversation we have for your glory. Please watch over us, our family, our friends, and Clinton College. We love and appreciate you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. God bless.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. So let us march on till victory is won. Let's go. March on. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod. Felt in the days when hope unborn and died, but yet with the steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light to keep us forever in the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Yeah, true to our God, true to our native land. Oh, da da da, true to our God, our native land. True to our God, true to our native land.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
Good morning, everyone. I bring you greetings from Academic Services. I'm Dr. Tonice Randolph, Vice President of Academic Services. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing our speaker, Reverend Eldrin D. Morrison, an ordained in the AME Zion Church and has pastored for 21 years, presently serving as pastor of Shaw Temple AME Zion Church in Smyrna, Georgia, and presiding elder of the South Korea Annual Conference. In addition, Reverend Eldrin D. Morrison's passion for education extends beyond Clinton College. In 2012, Pastor Morrison founded the Booker T. Washington Academy in New Haven, Connecticut, a high-performing Connecticut state charter school. He's proud to be a proclaimer of the gospel and a community leader. Let's all welcome Reverend Eldrin D. Morrison.
This in my soul, praising my Savior all the day long. This in my soul, this in my soul, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story.
Good morning, Clinton College. I know we all can say amen to that rendition of Blessed Assurance. Thank you, Dr. Randolph, for that wonderful introduction. I certainly want to greet our president, President McCorn, as well as Dr. McNeil, and to all of our students and faculty, staff of Great Clinton College. I'm humbled to share this morning in this Beacon Forum with you. Listen, I've often thought of the days when I was a kid during the summers. Arthur Marshall Jr. Faith and Order Institute would be held at Clinton College, and as kids, we would come around there and stay there on campus and act like we were college students for those few days. And I really can't believe that now I'm the pastor of Shaw Temple as well as a trustee of Clinton College now. I'm a witness this morning that time flies. My grandfather, the late Reverend R.A. Morrison Sr., used to tell me about the time when Clinton had a high school component or high school program. And my youngest aunt graduated from Clinton Junior College in 1980, went on to Johnson C. Smith University and received her bachelor's there. And I cannot tell you how often I've thought about would Clinton be the kind of institution I would want to now send my daughter or my son to? So much has happened in my time span, even at Clinton College. I am old enough to remember Dr. Sally Moreland walking on campus, and yet still young enough to be considered a young adult pastor and to be youngest member of the trustee board at Clinton. And I am grateful to Dr. McCorn for your visionary leadership in leading Clinton College. And under your leadership, we know that the college has used every resource to become a world-class educational institution. When I was a student at Livingstone College, they really drilled into us that W.B. Du Bois said that Livingstone College was the Harvard of the South. Well, let me say this morning that Clinton College shall be the Yale of the HBCUs. And I know Dr. McCorn would have it no other way. This morning, if we could go around and just talk about our views of what our greatest resource is right now. There's no doubt in my mind that we would have different views and opinions. I would hope this morning that I could convince you that above money, above influence, above power, that our greatest resource that we have is time. The greatest insult to God, in my opinion, above or just right after blasphemy would be to misuse or to waste the resource of time that God has given to each one of us. My congregation, my friends would oftentimes tell you that the quickest way to upset me is to waste my time. I would rather you waste my money than to waste my time. You can always earn more money. You can never create new time. I cannot tell you the many meetings, annual conference meetings, some of them and the like, I have sat through and repeatedly thought, I can't get this time back. Once it's gone, it is gone. So what I've come to say to you this morning, Clinton community and students, is I want to remind you and I want to encourage you to be good stewards of your time. And it's important, and it's also difficult as well, because none of us know exactly how much time we really have. Frankly, if COVID-19 has taught us anything, we should have learned that none of us have the time we think we have. In fact, according to the National Center for Health and Statistics, coming through COVID-19, the U.S. life expectancy decreased 1.5 years among white America, and then 2.9 years among Black Americans. It's an alarm to us that we really do need to make the best use of our time. One of the greatest examples presently in this world of a person who has made the best use of her time is that mogul, Oprah Winfrey, one of the wealthiest and most recognizable persons on the globe right now. Some of you can remember in 1986, she began that groundbreaking TV show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, which was a 1 hour long daily, what would really be a therapy session, at least for Black Americans at that time. I would come home from school, and my mother would always remind us before we left home that we were not to bother the TV once we got home, because she had the VCR set, and it was set to record her soap opera, All My Children. I don't know if she's watching this morning, but to record All My Children at 1 o'clock, and then at 4 o'clock, she was going to record the Oprah Winfrey Show. In 1996, over 15 million Americans said they regularly watch the Oprah Winfrey Show. It was broadcast across 100 countries at that time. Well, in 1996, her show was in the 10th year. And for the 10th year anniversary, Neil Simon wrote a theme song just for Oprah. And that theme song has stuck in my mind to this day. The words of it said this, and I want to just share this with you, and I really be just about done. It says, you are moving on a crowded street, various shades of people, in the summer's harshest heat, a story in your eyes. Well, speak to your minds at ease. 10 years come and gone so fast, I might as well been dreaming. Sunny days have burned a path across another season. A fortune rises to the sky. 10 years come and gone so fast, and you are driving down an empty road beside a shady river. When the sky turns dark as stone, the trees begin to shiver. The grace of God is nigh. 10 years come and gone, and this flash has never been forgotten. Sunny days have burned a path across another season. How do the powerless survive, he says. 10 years come and gone so fast, and if you look into your future's life, 10 years from this question, do you imagine a familiar light burning in the distance? He concludes, love that never died. 10 years come and gone so fast, I might as well been dreaming. Sunny days have burned the path across another season. But one of the things that this song bears out to us is that Oprah and those who were listening at that time, those of us who are here even today, have really been blessed. We are the recipients of a great inheritance, and we've been blessed in our lifetimes to build wealth. It's that line that the song says, a fortune rises to the sky. Sunny days have burned the path across another season. Last week, a friend commented to me, said, Eldrin, that you know that we've really been blessed to see a lot of great things in our lifetime so far. We've seen the first Black president, President Barack Hussein Obama. We've seen the first Black or first female vice president who is a Black woman, Kamala Harris. And now we've seen the first Black female Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. We've seen a lot in our lifetime so far. And I raise this point because of something that Jesus says in Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. He says simply, to whom much is given, much is required. For my generation, much has been bequeathed to us. And I wish time allowed us to really dissect Mother Mary McLeod Bethune's last will and testament. I think it ought to be something that every HBCU graduate knows and studies himself. We are the heirs of a great legacy and inheritance. And part of what she shares is that we also have an expectation to use wisely all of that which the former generation has given to us. She and her generation expects us to use resources wisely, and the greatest resource we have is our time. It's unfortunate that too many in my generation have really wasted the inheritance and soiled that legacy, even though we've been blessed to see such great things in our lifetimes. You are part of that generation. You're recipients of so much, seeing many great things even in your lifetime that pushes the agenda of people of color in this country and in this world. To whom much is given, much is required. It's not asked, but it's required. One translation of that verse says it is demanded of us. And so today, I just want to encourage you. I want to remind you that you ought not wait until you graduate before you can do something or think you can do something that adds to this legacy and improves our inheritance. Don't wait till you graduate to try to reclaim your time. Don't wait until you've made your first million before you think that you can give back and make a difference. Be fueled by what Dr. King said was the fierce urgency of now. President Obama oftentimes utilized and quoted that, and I know Dr. McCoy does as well. We cannot afford for another generation to rest on its laurels and think it has arrived and to enjoy what they've earned and wait until they're good and ready before they think about giving back and making a difference. There's too much to do, and we are too far behind already. And I hope that you'll take this time that you have at Clinton, whether you're graduating this year or whether you just started your college career. Hope you take the time to prepare and start to really assess and to decide what it is you want to speak to in your life, how you want to go after the passions and career plans you have. You ought to do that now. I want to encourage you to be good stewards of your time, because 10 years will come and go so fast, and you'll think, I might as well been dreaming. Make a difference right now. You can do it right now. Do you realize that currently the state that you reside in, South Carolina, both its senators, Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator Tim Scott, voted against the confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Brown Jackson. Tim Scott is Black. He just acts like he doesn't know what color he is, but he is Black. And he is that lesson for us now that everybody's skin to you ain't necessarily kin to you. Tim Scott and Clarence Thomas seem to drink from the same elixir, and it just kind of somehow blinded them. I wonder if any was your response at Clinton College, if any students wrote to them, called them, asked for an audience with these senators who represent you. Did you call their office and tell them how you expected them to vote before that? Did you call Senator Lindsey Graham and ask him about his comments to our new justice? Did you fill their inboxes with emails letting them know that you're watching and you're going to remember what they did in this next election? Did you let them know how disappointed you were in them walking out of the Senate chambers like some upset children on a playground? And I raised this for us today because Dr. King said the time is always right to do right. I want you to keep in mind that all of the great revolutions, the great movements have been fueled by young adults and college students. The civil rights movements, with its marches, its sit-ins, its boycotts, would have never been what it was without college students and young adults like Dr. King at its helm, like the Little Rock Nine or the Friendship Nine. You ought to Google that while you're in Rock Hill. These movements were carried through and really led by college students and young adults at their time. You must make a difference. You got to use your time wisely. We need each one of you, each student at Clinton College right now, because we are so far behind and have wasted so much time as a people. That's why Oprah Winfrey's song somberly says, "You are driving down an empty road beside a shady river. When the sky turns dark as stone, the trees begin to shiver." That's what's going on right now. We're in a desperate time. Times are hard, and we need your energy. We need your ideas. Yesterday, it was reported that we are experiencing the highest rate of inflation since 1981, the year I was born. The consumer price index is 8.5% right now today. I'm a preacher. Dr. McCoy is a preacher. We need pastors and community leaders. And I want to encourage you to also think about, as you might be pursuing ministry, also think about careers in politics right now. The average age of a member of Congress is 61 years old. Political leadership has aged over the years. Joe Biden took the oath of office 61 days after his 78th birthday, and he is now running for re-election. I voted for him, but I'm not sure right now that an 80-year-old is really the best person we have to lead us in a post-pandemic time period in our country. This is a period that is pregnant with potential and possibilities. We need wise advisors who know the way, but we need daring and bold leaders who are full of vitality. Out front, America is falling behind even now. So that's why we need you running for Congress, state senators, and state level politicians. We need you to enter careers in education, early education, which is near and dear to me. I founded a state charter school in New Haven, Connecticut. Against White Historical Society's advice, I named it Booker T. Washington because I wasn't going to let white people tell me and dictate to me who in my own history I could honor. And right now, that school outperforms most of its schools in its district in math and science. I didn't wait until people gave me permission or people thought I was old enough to do it. I used the energy and position I had at the time in the community I was living in to do what was right for our people. We need you to pursue careers in education because just as sure as Black Lives Matter, education matters, and it matters what color the teachers are who are standing up front of our classrooms. And if we learned anything during the pandemic, we learned that our country's model for educating children is antiquated at best. We need new models and methodologies. And that doesn't come from those who are tenured and they're waiting on their retirement. That comes from people who are prepared to graduate right now with education degrees and will look at classrooms totally different than those who taught them. You see a blank slate of untapped possibilities. I constantly try to remind the staff at Booker T. Washington that we are preparing young scholars for careers that have not yet been created, so that we no longer ask our young scholars what they want to be when they grow up. We ask them what problems do they want to solve. Presently, we are wasting too much time. We're desperately misguided when we've learned to build prisons based on third-grade reading scores, but haven't learned what Frederick Douglass said, that it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. There is no fixing the economics without building equity in a new national educational model for our country. I was talking to a man this past Sunday who's in his 50s now. It's a great career in finance. He works for one of the greatest companies in Georgia, works for Home Depot. His job is safe. He works in the finance department. Last year, Home Depot's revenues was raised by $19 billion. It totally grossed $151 billion in 1 year. He said, Pastor, I like my job, but I wish I had done something else. I wish I had gone into another field now. So I spent my career making a few folks rich. He said, I'm a Morehouse man, and I graduated, and I had to go right to work because I had a child while I was in school. I graduated on time, but I also graduated with $130,000 in student loans. He said, I've been calculating how long it would take me to pay that off. And at the rate of interest and inflation, I would almost have to work 40 years to pay this off when I figure in other expenses, including my children's education. Why are we graduating generations of students with debt greeting them as they walk across the stage? It is going to be on those of you who are students right now to figure out how we can continue to educate and yet don't bury students and their families under debt as they graduate college. Consider your life goals. Don't wait until you think you have arrived to start making a difference. Start right now. Time waits on no one. So when you look up 10 and 20 years from now, you're going to say, time flies. You're gonna repeat the words, perhaps, of Oprah's song, How Do the Powerless Survive? 10 years come and gone so fast. And if you look into your future's life, 10 years from this question, do you imagine a familiar light burning in the distance? Use your time wisely because you don't have the time you think you have. If you do not use time wisely, if you waste it, you'll miss your moment. And I want to close this morning with just this story I shared with our church that really reiterates this point of wasting time and missing your moment. Some of you may remember the Motorola phone company. Motorola was a cell phone company, was the cell phone company of choice in the late 90s. When I first got my cell phone, I had the same number I had since 1998. I'll also add that in there as well. But in 1999, everybody had a Motorola. Everybody. Motorola wasted its time and it missed their moment that would ensure that they would be around continually. Motorola missed the coming of digital technology. Motorola refused to move, refused to invest, refused to change. Mid-90s, AT&T asked Motorola to develop the digital phone. Motorola thought that its customers wouldn't use it. They'd never accept it because it wasn't really good quality. They were the market leaders at that time, and so they thought that they were going to be the leaders forever. They were doing great, so they refused the offer. They wouldn't spend time, would not spend energies in developing new ideas. They refused. So AT&T went to a small company called Nokia at the time, And they got it, and they immediately agreed to invest time and energies and resources into developing this new digital technology. Nokia led the way, ending the era of analog phones, ushered in this new day of digital technology. Nokia survived and Motorola died. They missed their moment. They refused to invest their time wisely. They refused the opportunity. For our sakes today, for the sake of the next generation, for the sake of your children's children, I pray that you don't waste your time right now. I beg you, don't miscalculate the moment. Don't waste your time. The late Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays said it best in the poem, God's Minute. I've only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, didn't choose it, but it's up to me if I use it. I must suffer if I lose it. Give an account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but all of eternity is in it. God bless you.
Wow. Thank you, Rev Morrison. That was right on point. You quoted my man, Benjamin Elijah Mays, God's Minute. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And in addition to being the Yale of the South, we're going to be the Morehouse of South Carolina. How about
Yes,
that?
sir.
Morehouse in Spelman, since it's both male and female. That was such a powerful message. I want to thank you. I shared with Rev Morrison before we came on that I'm actually on the beach for my wife's spring break, but I couldn't miss this opportunity to hear Rev Morrison, such a brother beloved. For those of you that don't know, Rev Morrison is one of my successors at the Great Barrack Memorial AME Zion Church in New Haven, Connecticut. And our other connection, when I was a student at Morehouse, I was an assistant minister at the Great Shaw Temple in Atlanta. You're doing such an outstanding job there. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for what you did for us today. Beacon Forum audience, I know you've been blessed by this message today, and you probably have been prompted to think about many things around time. And I really want to thank you, Rev Morrison, for challenging us to think about the fierce urgency of now. Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. We are in what they call an inflection point. This is a very, very important moment in our nation's history, and it is going to require the next generation to step up. We have some very gifted, talented, brilliant students at Clinton College who are going to be world changers, but they cannot miss this moment. Yeah. And I'm glad that you have challenged them in that way. For those of you who are watching with us, please put your questions in the chat for Rev Morrison. We want you to have an opportunity to engage this brother who's sharing with us so generously. We have a couple of our students who are on the call with us, Anna and Latasia. So glad you participated, and I want to give you a chance. I guess I'm going to call Latasia first. Latasia, do you have a question for Rev Morrison? Go ahead, Latasia. We're going to bring you on.
Yes, so I know as we have a lot of time now due to the pandemic and us having our free time after work and other activities. So like what advice would you give to people who's trying to give back to their community or trying to get back in that old groove or vibe as like Oprah Winfrey used to do with her TV shows?
Yeah, I would say to find an issue, find a challenge that is dear and near to you, and become a catalyst for changing that. Find an issue, not a personality, not some big star to follow behind, but find an issue that affects you and jump in it and change it.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people, they say, oh, you can't do this. You're too busy. You're never too busy to do something that's good. So I just wanted to know like how you can do that and get back into that old groove and still help other people and keep that time effectively.
That's right. That's what you do. I would add that, I think you're never too young to do something. I'm not sure exactly what age Dr. McCorn was while he was pastoring Varick and became a school board member. But I was 30 when I started Booker T. Washington. And most of the folks said I was too young to do that. But the issue of educating our kids was so important that I couldn't wait for someone else to do. I couldn't wait 5 years to do it. So whenever you see an issue, jump into it. Do all you can to speak to that challenge.
Okay.
Great advice. Yeah, Latasia, that's a great question. And Rev Morrison is exactly right. I mean, I kind of knew my calling at a young age. And I know people come to it at different stages of their lives. But I mean, I started preaching when I was 16 years old. So I was licensed to preach in the AME Zion Church. I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I followed this course. And when I was a student, just like you, there was a major racial issue in Forsyth County, Georgia. And Rev Morrison may know a little bit about that. Forsyth County was one of the few counties that still had practices of keeping Black people out. By law and by practice, Black people could not live in Forsyth County. Years ago, they drove out a bunch of Black people. They lynched people and ran them out. And right around 1986, 87, somewhere around there, there was a big event that called people. There was a march where Black people were hit with bottles and cans. And so a week later, it was led by Hosea Williams. Ironically, Hosea was involved in the civil rights movement as a young person decades before, and he was leading that march in Forsyth County. When we saw what happened to Hosea Williams, a week later, we came back with our entire posse. Thousands of Black people marched on Forsyth County. And I was in my 20s, and that was the beginning of my commitment to civil rights. When I was in Barrow County, Georgia, Winder, and Rev Morrison knows about Winder. When I pastored in Bush Chapel, I led a boycott and formed an organization that changed the way business was done in Barrow County. They started hiring African-American, and police brutality is what started it. So think about that. In 1989, 1990, police brutality is what led a movement in Barrow County. And here we are 30 years later going through the same things. So Latasia, now is the time for you to be involved in social justice matters wherever God has you, whether it's in New Jersey or in South Carolina. God has you there for a reason. So I'm so glad that you're engaged in this conversation. Thank you for that question. I'm going to bring your peer up, Anna. Anna, I think you have a question for Rev Morrison.
Yes, I do. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask is, what is one piece of practical advice you would give to Clinton College scholars? Like, what is most critical changes we need to take in order to face the future more effectively?
Critical advice. Well, what I shared this morning is don't wait, 10 years from now to think you're going to make a difference. The greatest changes that have occurred where people have been college students, young adults, and they decided to jump in and make a difference right where they are. So while you're on campus or if you're in Clinton Global, be inspired by the professors, the teachers, the staff, what's being shared with you. Utilize every resource that you have to educate yourself on the issues so that you can speak to those issues. But act now, do it today. Jump in the fight.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Rev Morrison, for that. Anna, good question. Both Anna and Latasia are student leaders on our campus, and I know that they've heard you loud and clear. So they have already made some difference on campus, and I believe we're getting ready for SGA elections. So I'm sure those two young ladies are going to be in the mix, and they now have some more ammunition after hearing you today. To our audience, please jump in here. I think there's another question in the chat. DK, if you can put that question up. All right, this is another one of our student leaders. Gavin Gabriel says, I've been recently wrestling with the ideas of freedom versus discipline, both of which are found in our faith. You're likely both advocates of intentional rest as well. Do you have any advice there? Rev Morrison?
Yeah, this is a great question. I am an advocate of intentional rest. It's important for for you to rest. It's important that you create a discipline around taking time off. I mean, I think all of us need that. Dr. Cohen's doing that right now. But while we're taking time off, while we're resting, we're also able to replenish ourselves. We're able to think about what comes next for us in our lives. And so I think it's very important that you do that you schedule that in. In fact, my assistant regularly schedules some time where nobody's going to bother me, and will come to me and say, listen, remember, you have that appointment. I'm thinking that appointment, well, that appointment that you do nothing but rest, that you take time off so that you can be replenished so that you can share again.
Yeah, that's great advice, Gavin. I just echo what Reverend Morrison has said. I agree. You've got to be a fierce protector of your time. I have something on my calendar called focus time, and it's about a 2-hour block that I try to put in regularly where I'm just meditating or relaxing or preparing. That's the other thing that people fail to practice is preparation for the day. When you've got a lot of work before you, a lot of tasks, you need time, what's called think time, focus time, to just prepare for that, where you're not doing anything except preparing your mind, your body, and your heart, your soul for the work that you are to do. But also Sabbath is important. So practice Sabbath, Gavin. I know you're involved in ministry as well. Make sure that you have those days where you are really being fed and nurtured in your soul so that you can be of good use for the work that you've been called to do. I'm asking if there are any other questions. I see Pastor Moore making some comments on there. I see my son, Will. Thank you for your comments. Any questions that we have? Oh, here, Ms. McCullough has a question. Because of our freedoms, do you think young people are less engaged in the civil rights movement?
I really think so. I think there is a sense, at least in the last few generations, that we have arrived, that we can pretty much live where we want to live, do what we want to do. There's such a focus on individuality, and so we are less concerned about the whole. We're less concerned about where we still need to go as a people and as a nation, and so we are less engaged in the movement.
Yeah, I'd agree. Very good. Let's round ask, what advice would you give our students on being self-motivated and using their time wisely?
I kind of think about that song, Sometimes You Have to Encourage Yourself. Many of us have come from families that we may be the first generation college student. No one knows what it's like to have to manage and juggle classes with jobs, part-time jobs, or with working on campus. And so you have to encourage yourself. You've got to hang around people who are doing the kind of things that you want to do. And they will always reach back and encourage you and tell you what they did to manage their time wisely. But you've really got to be self-reliant and then watch who you spend time with.
Mm-hmm. Very good advice. Dean Randolph, we're going to bring her up. And before I bring up Dean Randolph, let me get to Will's question. What are some of the obstacles that you have faced while creating and maintaining the Booker T. Washington Academy?
That's a great question, Will. And let me just say that I think more people of color need to create schools, whether it is charter schools or private schools or however it is. We need to find new methodologies of teaching the next generations. The greatest obstacles I had was not with the teachers union. The greatest obstacles I had was with other Black folk who did not want to see another school or another rival, what they thought was a rival against where they had gone to school, not realizing that the school they went to 20 years ago was a whole lot different. Their teachers were retired. That was a different school at that point. So the greatest obstacles I had was with convincing other folk in the neighborhood that this was a school that needed to be built. It was another opportunity for another place of quality education for our people in New Haven at that point. And I'm grateful for the congregation and the community that rallied behind us to get it started and continue to support it as it continues to grow. But the greatest obstacles I had was with the community folk looking at it. And then the second obstacle was with the political system itself in funding another public school. And this is why we need African Americans who are from the neighborhood to run for office and be in place when ideas and when new ideas come to the chamber there and new bills come and new systems of funding come. That's why we need to work together on this.
Yeah, so true. Very good. We're going to now call Dr. Randolph, our academic dean, up for her question. Dr. Randolph.
Hello. Thank you, Reverend Morrison, for those words and your comments today. President McCorn has been a strong advocate for the Center of Social Change and Innovation. And in establishing that and thinking of ways we want to establish that center at the college, what academic programs would you suggest that we explore to enhance the Center for Social Change and Innovation?
I think political science is a really good avenue and program that we need to really champion. I don't know of another institution in Rock Hill or in the area that really has just a strong political science program, especially one geared to people of color and really serving the least of these in our communities. And I think that's a place and position where Clinton could really make a difference. So political science, anything surrounding our early childhood education, because I think education is like the number one issue that we're going to have to face in the next 10 years. It's going to be the great divide.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Dean Randolph. If there are any more questions, we want you to put them in the chat so we can engage. We've got a couple minutes before we let Reb Morrison go. While we're fielding other questions, I want to ask you, Reb Morrison, from your experience, and I was really struck by this idea of a 10-year or a decade of change. And as I look back, I mean, you're right. I mean, time goes by so quickly. And 10 years becomes like that. You know, we think we have a long time, but you grew up in and around South Carolina and Rock Hill. Can you talk a little bit about how you have seen Clinton evolve from your vantage point as a young person to where it is now and perhaps where it could be in the future? Yeah, I'm proud of where Clinton has really grown to, especially in the last 10 to 15 years. It's really been, amazing to watch. I guess the progression from what my grandfather says when there was a high school program there and just started very small to it becoming a junior college and recognizes that to now a world class college. I mean, where you could have a student in Africa. And I'll just say I've got a minister in Liberia who is looking at, and I've encouraged him to look at Clinton College right now, who wants to go to school. And I've said, listen, you can go to school right where you are. You can enroll in Clinton College right where you are. So the opportunities that Clinton has taken in the last few years has been amazing. And to see where this school is poised to grow within the next 5 to 10 years is just, I don't think anyone 20 years ago would recognize Clinton today. It has been something, and I've had the opportunity to see it from Dr. Moreland to Dr. McCorn, and it's just amazing the progression. It hasn't been easy; it's not without a struggle, but the Lord has blessed Clinton, and with good visionary leadership, it continues to grow. Well, thank you for that. And we're so proud of you, glad that we are affiliated with you, and proud of the career that you've had in ministry, now a presiding elder and founder of a school. Just great work that you're doing. And we're so proud of you and glad to be affiliated with you. Thank you, Reverend Morrison. You are a part of our family, so you know you have a standing invitation to join us at any time. You have blessed us today, and I hope that our students are paying attention. Those of you who are on today, please share this. Repost it on Facebook, send the link to people so that they can watch this for themselves and be inspired by this message shared with us today by Reverend Eldon Morrison, the eminent pastor of the Shaw Temple AME Zion Church of Smyrna, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. Thank you, Reverend Morrison. We're now going to sing our alma mater and then turn this over to Dr. Brown for announcements.
Planted our heroes rule, holy we reign and rule, holy we take our stand to honor thee. We'll honor, cherish thee, as thou wast and we flee. Enter our heroes rule, we love you so. When we enter their gates, then we our glances take. We pledge allegiance true to honor thee. We'll honor, cherish thee, as thou wast perfectly. Enter our heroes home, we love you so. We'll honor, cherish thee, as thou wast perfectly. Enter our heroes home, we love you so. We love you so. We love you so.
Good morning, Clinton family. I'm going to just give you guys a few updates and messages on what we have going on here at Clinton within the next week or so. And so coming up next week, we have our student government elections for the 2022-2023 academic school year, which is very exciting to get our SGA going and have our student leaders involved as they're eager to get involved here at Clinton. And so beginning on April 19th, we have our presentation to candidates where you'll be able to virtually watch our students who are running for elections in the SGA program, see their announcements on what their campaign will be, what they're running on, their focus for leadership for the upcoming academic school year, and their platforms on what they stand for to implement change and engage our students here at Clinton College. And then on April 20th, we have our SGA candidate debates, where you'll be able to ask our candidates questions. They'll be, we will provide questions to the candidates and they will answer those questions. And you'll be able to ask questions as students here at Clinton to make an informed decision on the election process on the candidates you select to represent you guys here at Clinton. And then on April 21st, we have our candidate events. And so all of our candidates who are running for SGA will be hosting programs, whether here on campus, in person, or virtual. So please be on the lookout for those announcements as well from our SGA candidates. And then on April 22nd, we will have a voting day. And so that will be electronic, and you'll get an email blast with a link for you to log in and vote for the candidates of your choice. And then on April 23rd, we will have our announcements during Bear Fest. And so that last date leads me into Bear Fest. So Bear Fest will be towards the ending of that week, which is basically a spring fest, right? Spring fling. And so a lot of students have been coming around asking to do something big before they go home for the end of the semester, which leads into their finals. And so on April 2nd, we will have our Fresh Friday on the yard. And so that's basically going to be a big barbecue on the yard with our staff, faculty, friends. It's open to commuter students as well as our residential students. So please come out and have a good time. That begins at 12 p.m. And then that evening at 8 p.m., we'll have our silent glow party here in the gymnasium. So that's going to be a great event for our commuter and residential students here at Clinton. And then on Saturday, April 23rd, we'll be partnering with the Office of Admissions. And the Office of Admissions will be hosting an on-site admissions day for our students, prospective students coming out to Clinton. So we'll have our family, friends, and prospective students on campus with our current students, faculty, and staff for a barbecue on the yard beginning at 11 a.m. Then that evening, we'll have a skate party outside beginning at 7 p.m. And then on that Sunday, which closes out our Bear Fest activities, we'll begin at 5 p.m. with our chapel service experience, and then ending at 7 p.m. with Aux Code Wars in the gymnasium as well, which is also open to our commuter and virtual students as well. So please come on out as we have a lot of events planned for you guys towards the end of the semester, and we look forward to really engaging you and giving you just a glimpse of what to expect for the upcoming school year. And please don't forget to make sure that you register and complete your FAFSA. And so if you have any questions regarding that, please feel free to reach out to myself, Dr. Brown, or Ms. White, and we can get you going with your registration and housing for the upcoming academic school year.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. I hope everybody heard all of those exciting things that we have planned for our students. We can't wait to start off that great week. We also have upcoming is our workshop for our virtual career fair. That's going to be Tuesday, April 19th at 7 o'clock p.m. The flyer that you see that has an incorrect date because we know that we are off that Monday. So it's going to be on the 19th, okay? 7 o'clock p.m. It is a virtual event. We're encouraging all of you guys to come out so that you can get pertinent information and have a successful experience at our career fair, which is coming up later on in the month. So it's very important. If you want to participate in the career fair, you must participate in the career fair training session. Okay. So again, thank you. I want to say thank you to Dr. Morrison. I was on mute, but thank you to my pastor, Dr. Morrison, for those words of wisdom. And thank you to Dr. Morgan, who has planned out wonderful activities as we cross the finish line. And we want to cross the finish line in great fashion. So I also want to take this time to make sure our students that you guys study hard, finish strong, study hard and finish strong with your finals. Have a blessed week.